Hey, it's Matt Moscona. You found it. It's AFR Saints, your home for daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Please subscribe, smash the like button, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And our content this football season is presented by BetUS. Score a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Enjoy the video. Who dat? Mike Triplett, neworleans.football, jumps aboard with us as he does every Thursday. How are you, man?
Doing good. Am I allowed to come on after wins? We hadn't talked about this in a while.
Merry Christmas. Absolutely. It's a holiday around here. You've covered the team for how many 20 years? How long have you been there?
This is my 20th season.
Okay, so lucky guess.
So I had a 3-13 there at the beginning.
Oh, 05 was your
and a
first
coaching
season?
change.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was my first season. I covered my first season in Louisiana was 03 covering LSU football in Saban. So I came in like a lion.
Yes.
But now when I went to the Saints, my first season was Hurricane Katrina, San Antonio, Hazlitt, Aaron Brooks, 3-13.
Welcome to the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay. How different has it been for 2 weeks around the Saints?
I mean, it's definitely been different as far as the energy level, and it was needed. And even Mickey Loomis, when I interviewed him last week, acknowledged, even though he wanted to give Dennis Allen every chance, he said, I can't deny the difference in energy level around here. People have been, it was Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And Derek Carr said, it's we believed in ourselves the whole time, but it's hard to keep believing in yourself when you get punched in the face every week. So, the big differences were energy and all that, and then there were technical things about what Darren Rizzi did in practice and everything like that. But another part of it is they just finally won a game, man. That's what this team needed so bad. Finding a way to win one instead of lose one. The fine line between wins and losses is so crazy. They had to have Young Wei-Koo miss 3 field goals to pull it off. And the last time they played Atlanta, that guy hit a 58-yarder to beat him. So it's such a fine line between euphoria and depression around here.
How much do you credit the Saints breaking through and winning, and probably that game to Darren Rizzi?
I mean, you have to give tons of credit, and I think it was shaking things up too. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from him, but I think it was all of it. It was they came into work and something was different, and they brought in a guy who maybe had some answers because the last guy clearly didn't have answers for getting them out of their rut, and they were showing up at work before thinking, well, nothing's going to change because it's the same old, and now it was the most dramatic change you could have made at all. And they all love Rizzi around here, and they all believe in Rizzi around here. So all of that was huge. But at the same time, you still gotta have a good enough team to win a game like that. The defense finally played like we were shocked that the defense was playing so bad for 5 or 6 weeks. DeMario Davis was just talking about this today. Making a speech in the fourth quarter like, we've been within one score, 8 of our 9 games this year, and we weren't making plays in the fourth quarter. And this week they finally did. So whatever gave them that rise, the big question is how sustainable is that? Can they carry that? Was that because they shook the snow globe up last week, or is that sustainable?
We'll get right back to the video. Can the Saints make it 2 in a row at home against the Browns? They're actually favored in the game. If you want to bet on it, make sure you use BetUS, our great partner here for AFR Saints. It's easy. Remember, you can get 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000. Make sure you use the promo code YouTube150. Let's jump in, make our bet for this week. I'll show you how easy it is to use. You go to BetUS. Let's choose football there on the left side. You'll get the drop down. We'll choose NFL odds for week 11. We'll find the Saints and the Browns. There it is in that noon central window. Saints are a 1-point favorite. They got the interim bump last week. The Browns are coming off the bye. I kind of do like the Saints in this ball game against Cleveland. It's one I think they can get. So we'll pick the Saints. We'll come over here to our bet slip. How much do we want to risk? Let's just say we'll keep it modest, $25. Place my bet. It's going to ask me to confirm. One more tap, and I'll get my confirmation slip. And there it is. We are locked in for the Saints, laying 1 point at home against the Cleveland Browns at BetUS. You can do the same thing. Remember, 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Who dat, and enjoy the rest of the video. Mike, how sustainable is that? Is it because they shook the snow globe up last week, or is that sustainable?
Hey, that's a great question.
This is why I sit in this chair. They let me ask good questions.
Well, look, there's more than changing head coaches. More than anything else, there's nothing more energizing than a win. There's nothing that gives you more momentum to start the next week. There's nothing that creates buy-in more than winning. So I think they feel great this week, and I think they feel like everything we're going to do in practice is going to be worth it, and it's going to work. And now they've got a pretty mediocre Cleveland Browns football team coming into the Superdome. So if they win that, then I think, all right, hey, this is working. And then they get a bye week, and they get a little healthier. And Eric McCoy's back this week. And, this stuff can pile up for the good. But, obviously there are some limitations that this team simply can't get past. Like, they don't have Chris Olave. They don't have Rashid G. They're never going to have Marshawn Lattimore or Paulson Adebo back this season. They're mediocre in a lot of areas. Their depth is a question mark in a lot of areas, regardless of who's coaching this team. So that can only get you so far.
So how big of a deal? Mike Triplett's our guest at Mike Triplett, neworleans.football, courtesy of Benny's Car Wash. How big of a deal is getting Eric McCoy back this week?
More than I think we ever would have guessed. I think him missing however many games he's missed has probably given him more credit, street cred, and recognition than he ever got before for his importance to this team, to be honest. And he is. He already made the Pro Bowl as an alternate last year. He was starting to get that recognition. I think Pro Football Focus went into the season ranking him as the second best center in the league. And this new offense that they've installed that requires athletic offensive linemen getting out on the move, he was making that thing go for a couple weeks. Obviously, he wasn't the difference between scoring, 47, 48 points and then all of a sudden going in the tank. But he might have been the number one part of it. Quarterback and Chris Olave are the only other two candidates.
Well, now McCoy's back, but Lucas Patrick hasn't practiced this week. So if Patrick can't go, who plays left guard?
Well, it'll still be Nick Saldivari, who's been doing it for a couple weeks. And, that's not perfect, obviously, but that's probably the smallest drop-off of any position from starter to backup on the line. And the biggest drop-off was McCoy to backup. So no look potentially at Shane Lemieux coming back? Possibly, but, after they did well last week with, and frankly, their run game has done well for a couple weeks in a row now, even that Carolina Panthers disaster. Alvin still had 225 yards from scrimmage or whatever it was in that game. They were averaging 6 yards a carry against the Chargers. So Nick Saldivari's done okay. You still prefer Patrick, though.
You mentioned the defense, the defensive change last week. Mike, I don't know that they actually were very good. They still got doubled up in their rushing total, got outgained by more than 100 yards. As you mentioned, Younghoe Koo, he had one block but missed 2 other field goals.
Yeah.
Are they really better defensively?
They're a flawed defense. This is not a top 5 defense anymore. It's probably not a top 10 defense anymore. But they made the plays at the end of the game. They had the Tyrann Mathieu interception on the second to last drive, the Chase Young sack fumble on the last drive. And that's enough to make the difference between a winning defense and a losing defense. Part of the reason Dennis Allen lost his job is because he's the commander of the defense, and the defense didn't make the play at the end of the Eagles game. It didn't make the play at the end of the Falcons game. It didn't make the play at the end of the Carolina Panthers game right before he got fired. So being able to make those plays in the big moments is world-changing.
I was on Twitter at Mike Triplett. That defense is going to face Jameis Winston coming back to the Dome this weekend. How do you think they match up against that Cleveland offense with what you know about Jameis and what you might know about Cleveland?
Yeah, Cleveland's not a world-beating offense, but they do have a few elements to worry about. Jameis Winston, for better and for worse, he'll go big play hunting. they'll give the defense opportunities at big plays. Nick Chubb is not Nick Chubb this year because he's coming off of that major injury, but they're coming off a bye week now, so he will probably be a little more refreshed and recharged than he's been. David Njoku is one of the more talented tight ends in the league. They've got medium wide receiver talent after trading away Amari Cooper, but they've got some decent guys there. So and a decent offensive line. So it's probably not a top 10 offense, but it's not a bottom 10 offense either.
What do you think the fan reaction will be to Jameis?
I think people love Jameis around here. I think they do. But I think they would love it if he throws some picks too. I mean, as sour as this fan base got on the team, everybody likes to watch winning. You know, I mean, that place, it felt like there were 30,000 Saints fans in there. There were a lot of empty seats and there were a lot of red clothes. But when the Saints started winning that game, I swear some people left their houses at halftime and decided to come for the second half. Or maybe they were all in suites, or maybe they were all in, the gathering rooms by the bars, and then they decided to sit in their seats. They're like, "Oh, we're winning again! Go out in there, man."
Where do you fall with the fans that say, like, do you really want to win? I mean, don't like the seat. You're not going to the playoffs. Do you really want to win, or do you want to lose? And I don't know. They're not going to tank, obviously, but would your cheering?
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. If you could fast forward it and not have to watch it, you'd like to be like, tell me that all the bad things have already happened, but we can fast forward to the draft now and have the number one pick. But to watch them lose for 8 more weeks, and to watch the players who are going to stay on this team beyond this year have their spirits crushed, to lose the faith, I mean, that stuff's hard too. I mean, yes, the number 1 pick, the number 3 pick, the number 5 pick, the number 6 pick is all better than positive momentum, because that stuff doesn't really matter. But, they're not going to tank. They're going to go out there trying to win. So watching them win games and watching the guys who are going to be on this, watching Alontae Taylor play great down the stretch, watching Brian Brzee play great down the stretch, watching Trevor Penning and Tali Falaga play great down the stretch, that stuff can carry over too. But, of course you'd rather have the higher draft.
I think they can and will play well, and I think will win this weekend against Cleveland. How many more wins do you think are on the schedule?
There's some bad teams on the schedule for sure that feel like opportunities for wins. Cleveland is one. The Giants are one. The Raiders are one. I think they can beat Tampa Bay. I think they're in the same class of teams. I don't know what Washington is. I don't think they can beat the Rams. I mean, there's a lot of them. There's not a lot of teams that they just can't possibly hang with left on this schedule. But you're asking this team to be consistent, and I just don't think this is a team that can win more than it loses. I think all tallied together, they can maybe go 500. I'd be shocked to see something like 6-2 to finish the season.
Yeah, I think they got 3 more wins, and it's the 3 you mentioned: Cleveland, the Giants, and the Raiders. Go 6-11 and see where you fall, if that's how it goes. But they got an opportunity this weekend. Just prevent Jameis from eating a W. Mike Triplett, neworleans.football, courtesy of Benny's Car Wash. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much for watching the video. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, hit the bell so you're notified when we post a new video, and remember to support BetUS, where right now you can get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. Be sure to use that promo code YouTube150.